Hello students, welcome to the second day's class of Pole Science of 11 Arts. And previously we had gone through the revised curriculum of the CBSE for class 11 Arts. And today we shall begin with the first chapter, that is chapter number 1, the Constitution. And under this head, the topic that we will read today and understand is about the fundamental rights and the fundamental duties. So hope you all have and you all know about the fundamental rights and fundamental duties, and today we will read about both the things in a elaborative way. So let us proceed then. So beginning with the introduction, the Constitution of India is the supreme law of India. That means what? The Constitution of India is the supreme law. That means we as a citizen and the government too have to abide by the Constitution of India. Every terms and condition and the guidelines are mentioned in the Constitution of India, and according to the Constitution of India only the government has to run the country, and we the citizens of the country have to abide by it. Clear? It lays down the framework defining principles, powers and duties of government institutions. As I have told you earlier, that what does the Constitution of India does? Firstly, it lays down the framework defining principles, powers and duties. That means it will define on what principles the government has to run the country, what are the powers be given to them. That means the powers will be given, but they will not have unlimited powers. And along with the powers, what are the duties of the government institutions are there, they will also define that. And after defining the principles, powers and duties of the government, after that it will set out fundamental rights, directive principles and the duties of citizens. Clear? Don't be confused over this fundamental rights, directive principles and the fundamental duties, because what the Constitution actually does, firstly it lays down the framework and structure that will define, that is defining what? That will give the principles, powers and duties of government. After that it has finished giving the powers and duties of the government, it will set fundamental rights firstly, then directive principles of state policy. This topic is also there. After we finish understanding about fundamental rights and fundamental duties, we will start knowing about directive principles of state policy. Clear? In other words, directive principles of state policy is that particular guideline according to which the government runs the country. That means these are the principles given to the government according to which they will run the country. So after instructing government, they will set out fundamental rights, directive principles and fundamental duties. It is the longest written constitution of any sovereign country in the world. As you know already, that related to the Constitution of India, it is the lengthiest constitution of the world. That means a written constitution. Clear? If you remember in class 9 and 10, we had studied earlier that when it was printed, when our constitution was printed, it had 12 bulky volumes. That means a big volume containing, you can say that in every volume there was around 300 to 400 pages. So it was around 12 bulky volumes. So based on that only it is written that it is the longest written constitution of any sovereign country in the world, containing 448 articles in 25 parts, 12 schedules, 5 appendices and 98 amendments out of 120 constitutional amendment bills. So how is it the lengthiest or the longest written constitution? if a question comes that state the reason behind telling the Indian constitution as the longest written constitution of any sovereign country in the world, so your answer should be that yes, India's constitution is the longest written constitution because of the fact that it contains 448 articles, that is spreaded in around 25 parts, 12 schedules, 5 appendices and 98 amendments. Clear? So this should be your answer. The reason for telling the Indian constitution as the longest written constitution. Please make a note down of this in your copy. After that, besides the English version, there is an official Hindi translation. Clear? As we know that the Constitution of India is written in English as well as in Hindi. So that's why it is written that besides English version, there is an official Hindi version also. That means the Hindi is actually translated from the English version. Dr. Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar is widely regarded as the father of Indian Constitution. This you know it from the previous time only, that Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar or Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar is commonly known as the father of Indian Constitution because of his efforts. And he was also the chairman of the drafting committee that prepared the Constitution of India. So regarding the Constitution, we have read thoroughly in class 9 and 10 also. So about the fundamental rights. The fundamental rights is a charter of rights in the Constitution of India. Clear? This is what? This fundamental rights can be said as what? The charter of rights that is mentioned in the Constitution of India. Clear? This is meant for whom? We, the citizen of India. So these are the rights that are actually mentioned in the charter of rights in the Constitution of India. So part 3 of the Indian Constitution contains the list of fundamental rights. So in the book of Indian Constitution, which part actually contains the list of fundamental rights, where you can find, if the Indian Constitution's book is given to you, then you can find the fundamental rights being mentioned in part 3 of the Indian Constitution. Clear? And according to part 3 of the Indian Constitution, whatever the fundamental rights are given, it guarantees the civil liberties. Clear? It guarantees what? Civil liberties, such that all Indians can lead their lives in peace and harmony. That means the rights are given in such a way that every Indian, irrespective of caste, creed and religion, they will be given these fundamental rights, and according to which all the citizens, irrespective of their caste, creed and religion, will be living happy for the fact that they will be treated equally according to these fundamental rights. Clear? And in the following picture, you can see what are the fundamental rights given by the Constitution of India, which is according to Article 3. First and foremost right is number 1, right to equality. Number 2 is right to freedom. Then number 3 is right against exploitation. Number 4 is right to freedom of religion. Number 5 is cultural and educational rights. And number 6 is right to constitutional remedy. So these are the 6 rights that have been given to us, to the citizen of India, which is mentioned in part 3 of the Indian Constitution. Remember this. Clear? So today we will wind up here only regarding the fundamental rights and fundamental duties. So today we read about the introduction, from where the Constitution of India started and what does it gives, rather than giving guidelines to the government to run the country through the directive principles. Along with that, the Constitution of India also provides us fundamental rights and fundamental duties. We also knew about that it is the longest written constitution by the fact that it contains 448 articles in 25 parts, 12 schedules, 5 appendices and 98 amendments. After that we read about that apart from English version there is another version in Hindi which is actually translated from the English version. Then we read about some basic points related to fundamental rights, where we learned that it is a charter of rights which is mentioned in the Constitution of India. Then we came to know that in the book of Constitution of India, part 3 of the Indian Constitution actually describes about where we can find the list related to fundamental rights. Clear? And lastly we read about how many fundamental rights are there accordingly given according to the Constitution of India. There are 6, starting from right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, and right to constitutional remedy. So I hope that whatever the points we have read today, it is now clear to you. With this, I will wind up today's topic. Thank you.